All right, guys, thought I would talk a little bit about some easy nutritional interventions, especially pertaining to the evening meal, on how that could influence sleep quality and quantity in a positive way. Research shows that with adolescents involved in sport, that poor quality sleep is one of the top predictors of injury. So it is something we need to be aware about in our young athletes, and of course we all know the benefits of what sleep is. So what we want to focus on today is the importance of carbohydrate type in the evening meal, protein type, and accessory foods like a kiwi. So I'll explain here in just a second. So kind of what are the ingredients you need for good quality sleep? From a neurotransmitter standpoint, you ultimately need to have some level of melatonin, which is derived from serotonin, which is derived from tryptophan. And so that brings us to the first topic of L-tryptophan, amino acid. The goal is to get high levels of L-tryptophan through the blood-brain barrier, but it's not just eat more protein, eat more turkey. Although turkey would be a good suggestion of a meat to consume in the evening. But the reason why you can't just eat protein is because of a thing called large neutral amino acids. And so when your body eats a protein, it breaks it apart into its constituent amino acids. The large neutral amino acids that get absorbed in the bloodstream have a preference or a competitive advantage, basically, of getting absorbed into the central nervous system, whereby decreasing the ability for L-tryptophan to get absorbed into the central nervous system, where it eventually needs to go, so you can make serotonin and melatonin and then go to sleep, or sleep better. So one way to kind of influence to get more serotonin in the central nervous system is to have a high glycemic index carbohydrate food at the evening meal when you consume protein, and also being careful not to consume a ton of protein in your evening meal. That's a topic for another day. Because when you consume a high GI, high glycemic index food, you're going to spike your insulin, which is actually what you want it to do, because it's going to cause a lot of cells in your body, like your liver, skeletal muscle, tissues, to absorb the glucose that you just have floating around in your blood, but it also puts the body in an anabolic state, and it will cause these tissues to absorb these large neutral amino acids, thereby kind of taking them out of your systemic blood circulation and allowing L-tryptophan then to have a slightly higher ratio and have less competition when going to cross the blood-brain barrier. So eat a high carbohydrate glycemic load, so like rice noodles, rice, white toast, things like that. Even just regular potatoes, starchy potatoes, they don't have a high glycemic index, but you kind of get the idea. And then secondly, protein of choice. We know from a variety of studies that dairy products, for multiple reasons, have a positive influence on having better sleep metrics. But melatonin may also exist a little bit in dairy products as well. That could be part of it. And then of course, poultry like turkey has a higher L-tryptophan content as it is, so it'd be good to get some of those. Now let's get into talking about why kiwi fruit, namely golden kiwi fruit. It's because it's high in folate. Why is that important when we're talking about sleep and serotonin and melatonin? Well, some research says 20 to 30% of Americans have a protein enzyme defect in the methyl tetrahydrofolate reductase enzyme, and it's basically responsible for recycling folate to its active form, so then you can basically get the functions out of some of your B vitamins. Well, when that's not working properly, or you just don't have enough raw materials to recycle into active folate, your body cannot convert serotonin into melatonin. So that's where folate becomes important. So it is necessary once your body takes L-tryptophan and converts it to serotonin. You have to have active folate to be able to convert serotonin then into melatonin. So kiwi fruit's high in natural folate, also high in vitamin C, antioxidant, and that's also been shown in some other studies that if you have higher levels of pro-inflammatory cytokines, which is little protein signaling molecules in your immune system that kind of are letting all the tissues know that, hey, like something's wrong here and we kind of need to have a inflammatory state. If those are elevated, and this could be due to chronic disease, it could just be due to high physical exertion or stress, disease stress, like illness, sickness, being sick. So consuming antioxidant food can also help reduce those pro-inflammatory cytokines, and for reasons that I forget right now, can influence sleep in a positive manner. So hope that helps.